Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Had a bunch of people send me a story that had a headline containing the name the Pinkertons. The Pinkertons. And I did not realize the Pinkertons still roamed among us. If you study American history, you'll know that the Pinkertons was a detective agency back in the old days, and they would occasionally get involved in situations, and they kind of acted like they thought they were the police, but they weren't. They were a private company run by a guy named Pinkerton. And the Pinkerton agency, though, got involved in a bunch of very, very high-profile situations, shall we say. And again, I did not know that they still ran around out there, but Magic the Gathering publisher, Wizards of the Coast, sent the Pinkertons after a leaker. And so a company wanted to get somebody's attention and get something back from them, and so they hired the Pinkertons. I wonder if they showed up on a stagecoach. So Igor Bonifacek wrote this for Engadget.com. It all has to do with a YouTuber who uses the name Old School MTG. I'll just call him Old School from this point out. A highly anticipated set of cards for Magic the Gathering were leaked on YouTube last week, and it's hard to imagine anyone would have guessed how that would end. But the story has the involvement of one of the most infamous private security firms in the world. It's exactly what happened after Old School uploaded an unboxing video featuring a collection of March of the Machine, the Aftermath booster packs. So this is just playing cards for Magic the Gathering, one of the later in the series. And so if you're not familiar, Aftermath is an upcoming 50-card Magic the Gathering set, Wizards of the Coast, and it's not set to release until May 12th. So it's going to come out May 12th. It's going to drop on May 12th. It's a supplement to the game's current March of the Machine expansion, which has been available since April 21st. So Old School did this unboxing video, and pretty much everyone in the community, it's all they could do was to talk about it. Based on the reaction of Wizards of the Coast, the publisher of the cards, it's safe to say the video upset the publisher. So over the weekend, Old School uploaded another video, this time titled The Aftermath of the Aftermath. Everything is gone. In the clip, he says that Pinkerton agents showed up at his home on Saturday morning and demanded he hand over the stolen product. So they told him that the stuff was stolen. They wanted it back. So he says, I got up and recorded some videos. Right after I got done with the video, dogs started barking because somebody's at the door. I come out and my wife's answering the door, and it was the Pinkertons. If you live in the U.S., of course, the Pinkertons need no introduction. The company is one of the country's oldest private security firms, with its original incarnation, the Pinkerton Detective Agency, dating back to about 1850. During that century, in the early 20th, the Pinkertons made a name for themselves with their anti-union operations, a job which they are said to continue into this century. Old School speculates the person he bought the unreleased cards from likely didn't know that they had accidentally sent him an unreleased set. Somebody screwed up and sent out the wrong cases to the gentleman that I bought the boxes off of, because when he sold me the stuff, he said he was selling me March of the Machine collector's boxes, not Aftermath. And of course, to get this box early would have had a much greater value. So chances are if the guy sold it to him at the price for the previous set, then the guy didn't know what he had. After recovering the leaked Magic the Gathering set, including the empty boxes and the wrappers, the Pinkertons put Old School in touch with a Wizards of the Coast representative who was apologetic about making my wife cry first thing in the morning by sending these heavy-duty lawmen. A Wizards of the Coast spokesperson confirmed to Polygon and Kotaku that the company sent the private security firm to Old School as part of their investigation into the matter. The YouTuber says the contact they spoke to at Wizards of the Coast offered to send him free products as compensation for what happened, and for what it's worth, his YouTube viewership has doubled since the original video went up. So it's heavy-handed what they did. They probably could have gone about this in another fashion, a little bit less heavy-handed. But if the stuff was stolen and it passed through several people's hands and somebody found out that, hey, this guy's got my stolen stuff, you go and you ask for the stuff back. What we don't know is what would have happened if you'd said no. So the Pinkertons show up, which is a funny sentence to say in this day and age. The Pinkertons show up and they go, we demand you give us those things. And he could have said, no. Close the door and lock it. Now, they're not the police. They don't have a warrant. They can't bust down his door like they could back in the old days, seemingly. So what can they do? Well, they could go to the police and say, hey, we had some stuff stolen from our client, and our client says this guy's got it, and we've identified him. We can show you the video where he's got the stolen thing or things in it. Therefore, we want you guys to get involved. So then the police might show up and say, hey, we've got a report that you've got this stolen stuff. Do you have it? Now, of course, you could close the door there and say, don't have to talk to you either. And the question is, how far would this escalate over a set of cards like this? And obviously, it could escalate to the point where he winds up being charged with possession of stolen property. That could have been the end result. So the way this ended is not that bad because they took the stuff from him, made his wife cry on a weekend morning, which of course is always a bad thing. But he says that they did compensate him, or they're at least saying they're going to compensate him. And so if he gets compensated, then it's probably just a misunderstanding on the part of whoever it was who sent him the cards. And, sending the Pinkertons out may have just been a little bit over the top. And again, they're making headlines because it's the Pinkertons, and many people like me just assumed that they had gone away. So apparently the Pinkertons are still out there. I didn't know. So maybe they will duck back down and kind of go off the radar for another 100 years or so, which would not be a bad thing. So if you think I'm ripping on these people a little bit too much, you have to understand that there was a time when these private security agencies or detective agencies would pop up, and they would go to hot spots, that is places where there was trouble, and they would offer their services to law enforcement. And they'd say, hey, you guys look outnumbered here. Do you want us to help you? And it was like a quasi-paramilitary force that would just show up. And strangely, when they showed up, all kinds of bad things would happen. And they'd go, well, look, if we weren't here, it would have been worse. It's like, well, actually, things got worse when you guys showed up. Yeah, but good thing we showed up when we did because things were about to get worse. So which came first, right? So it's an interesting story. It sounds like the guy is doing okay. And the funniest part about this is that the views on his channel have skyrocketed. So in that respect, it's helped him. So I hope that along with whatever the publisher gives him, will compensate him for the trouble he's gone through. And again, just seeing the Pinkertons in the headline is just one of those things that really causes me to go, what? So again, a lot of people sent this to me. Thank you very much. Engadget.com published it. Igor Bonifacic wrote it. Magic the Gathering publisher, Wizards of the Coast, sent the Pinkertons after a leaker to retrieve an unreleased card set. Questions or comments, put them below. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Climb the mountains so you can see the world, not so the world can see you.